Hey, part 2, Hoople's cat. Well, I might put these up separately. It's a bit much to expect people to slog through these, and I also haven't started out my video software yet. I just had a very nice wrap. Leslie's now making her own vegan cheese, and it was absolutely delicious. And I'm going to try and get her to show me it. Coffee. Starbucks of coffee. The other part of the military tactics is when they're staying in a garage, which is they find a suitable place to stay because it's more sealed in than homes are, and that's probably going to be true in SHTF. What rouses them is the sound of engines, a long way off at first and rising and falling. A lot. It's obvious. Whatever the hell it is, it's coming closer. Under Park's terse directions, they grab their stuff and get the hell out of there. So that's a good thing. Yeah, don't engage an enemy or a potential enemy. Get out. The other amusing aspect, and I think they do this in a lot of SNCF situations, is they actually find backpacks, recent backpacks from recent occupants of a car that have recently been eaten. Bearing in mind this is 20 years after the breakdown. Justino opens the rucksack. Jesus Christ, she mutters. She dips a hand in and brings out some of the contents. Money, bundles, £50 notes, bank fresh in paper sleeves. Completely useless. 20 some years after the world went down the toilet, someone still thought it was coming back. That there would come a day when money would mean something again. Triumph of hope over experience, Park observes. Nostalgia, Dr. Caldwell says categorically. The psychological comfort outweighs the logical objections. Everybody needs a security blanket. Maybe, but they got eaten. There was nothing in that bag that could stop them from being eaten. We all need hope, we all need nostalgia, and I think for me the hope in SHF would be actually rebuilding a better society. Maybe. These residential streets of Market once, now gone to semi-ruin through a hectic month or so of looting and urban warfare followed by 2 decades of neglect. So yeah, that's kind of how I foresee SHTF. I have no idea, nor do you. I foresee 2 to 6 to 8 weeks of utter violent chaos. Get through that, hide through that, don't engage through that, and then see what comes afterwards. Now, Beacon throughout the book has been a literal beacon, and Beacon Hills actually is a place in England, so I didn't make the name up, but for me it was a subconscious reference to a beacon of light on the hill, the hopeful place in a world gone down the toilet. The truth is different, and that will be the truth for your survival camp probably. It's not going to be great. Even though she knows damn well that Beacon is a shithole, a big refugee camp governed by real terror and artificially pumped up optimism, like the bastard child of Butlins and Colditz. It was already well on the way to totalitarianism when she looked her way out of there. Yeah, be careful about microbes. And then it's revealed, almost over halfway through, when did communication stop, she asks him. He doesn't answer, she asks again. Last message from Beacon was about 5 months back, Park admits. Normal signalling wavelengths have been empty ever since. That's not great, is it? So now they talk about, you never get any characters who are actually survivalists, the Junkers. But they talk about them a fair amount. The Junkers. Justin's tone is sour. She's heard stories and now she's seen them for herself. Survivalists who've forgotten how to do anything else besides survive. Parasites and scavengers, almost as inhuman in their own way as Ophicordia softer lips. That's the fungus. They don't build or preserve, they just stay alive. And their ruthlessly patriarchal structures reduce women to pack animals or breeding stock. Seriously, have a good look at your survival plans. Have a good look at the group of people you're intending to survive with. Be careful. Things will change, and they won't change for the better in Grid now. And then there's the rest of the world, you know. Beacon was in touch with survivor communities in France, Spain, America, all kinds of places. The cities were hit worse, any place where there was a whole bunch of people crammed together, and a lot of infrastructure fell with the cities. In less developed areas, the contagion didn't spread so fast. Now I think Princess Prepper is planning to do a video on why suburbs beat cities and rural areas for survival and grit down. I actually kind of agree with that, so I'm going to let her do her thing. I might just do VR to it. Rural has some issues, but in a pandemic like this, yeah, you want to be in the forest, in the literal forest, surrounded by nobody for as long as possible. One of the strange pandemics, one of the strange SNCF pandemic is that you actually want to be isolated. Now the government did things as it fell, before it moved what was left of it to the Beacon area. They're moving now through a burn shadow, another factor of the breakdown. Before the government fell apart entirely, it passed a whole series of badly thought out emergency orders, one of which involved chemical incendiaries sprayed from helicopter gunships to create cauterized zones that were guaranteed free from Hungries. Unaffected civilians were warned in advance by sirens and looped messages, but a lot of them died anyway because they weren't free to move when the choppers flew in. I think the trope of using a nuclear bomb on a city by a desperate government to stop an infection has been used quite a bit. This actually is more realistic. It will be localized bombing, localized artillery shelling of chemical and incendiary weaponry. So think about where you're actually going to be in a pandemic type situation. Is the government likely to see your area as a good zone to cauterize, to seal off their zone from the infected zone? Something most people aren't really thinking too much about, and I didn't before I read this, so again I'm grateful I read it. Gallagher nods slowly, like none of this is news to him, but the truth is this vanished world is something he's profoundly ignorant of and barely even thinks about. A child of the breakdown, he was a lot less interested in tales of the glorious past than in how he could cadge a bit of someone else's bread ration. He uses the artifacts of the past all the time, obviously. His gun and knife were made back then. So were the base's buildings, and the fence, and most of the furniture. The Humvee, the radio, the fridge in the rec room. Gallagher is a squatter in the ruins of empire, but he doesn't interrogate the ruins any more than you'd interrogate the meat you try to guess what animal it came from. Most of the time it's better not to know. And that's something you need to think about as well. If you have kids, are you going to have kids in Grid Down? What we know, what we care about, will not be what they know and what they care about. And we have to adapt, not them. Cluttered up with the millions of things that don't do anything except get in your way and almost trip you over. It's like before the breakdown, people used to spend their whole lives making cocoons for themselves out of furniture and ornaments and books and toys and pictures and any kind of shit they could find, as though they hoped to be born out of the cocoon into something else. Which some of them were, of course, but not in the way they hoped. So yeah, homes are full of stuff that we don't need, that will just get in the way in a real survival situation. I'm not saying get rid of all your stuff and go minimalist, but a more minimalist lifestyle I think is more attractive to me as a prepper than a more bushcraft lifestyle. Think about that. Minimalism actually may have some strong prepping links. I haven't gone into that. I wonder if you guys have. If you have, let me know. So they talk about the fact that the infection is spread by blood and spit. It's not aerosol, not airborne, and that's kind of a big reveal and dramatic ending. The other thing in Grid Down you're going to have to think about, I'm not going to really talk about the ending at all. It really is a phenomenally great ending. Even Logical Prepper had to admit it's devastating. It's well worth seeing the film for that and reading the book for it. But quite away from the ending, there's a little paragraph that they just throw in, and I think that we should think about this. A hungry, obviously, age at the time of primary infection no more than 5. Naked, scrawny, indescribably filthy. like a disaster victim in a charity appeal broadcast before the breakdown, in those innocent days when a few thousand dead felt like a disaster. Catch the film. I really liked it. Logical Premise says the film's average, but the ending is devastating. I'd like to know what you think about the film. I'm not doing film reviews, enough of them online. But the book itself, I think, is, if you like the film, get hold of the book. You're not going to be disappointed in the book. Really, you're not. It gives you more scenes. There's more scavenging scenes in the cities, there's more overnight scenes, there's more interior scenes from their own minds and memories of the past, and it gives you a lot more background than the film can possibly do. Really great stuff, and I hope you enjoyed this. I know people aren't going to ever go viral. I just do it so the few people that watch it might get something out of it. And as ever, communicate below and we'll think about and maybe discuss stuff that came up from my interpretation of somebody else's text. Anyway, that's it from me. Toodaloos.